in some clear lake reflecting. Know that the lake, the moon, has never moved. Know all things to be like this, as an echo that derives from music, sounds and weeping. Yet, in that echo, there is no melody. Know all things to be like this, as a magician makes an illusion of horses, oxen, carts, and other things. Nothing is as it appears. The Buddha. One of my favorite sages, of Buddhist sages in the 400 BC, I believe, is Nagarjuna. And Nagarjuna always told things very straightforward and as it is. And sometimes people found him harsh. Well, I prefer, honestly, in my mind, to things to be straightforward to me. So I quote Nagarjuna: I am not, I will not be. I have not, I will not have. This frightens all children and kills fear in the wise. Today, Mother's Day, is a good day to contemplate the wisdom of compassion. Some of us begin to learn about compassion from our mothers. Others learn compassion from suffering. Either way, the lesson of the importance of compassion is always available to us in the present moment. Those of us who are lucky enough to learn compassion in a compassionate way rejoice. But it really doesn't matter how we learn compassion. What matters is how we practice compassion. Einstein said, people know who Einstein was? The smart guy from the West that we tend to look at as an intelligent being. Einstein said, a human being is part of a whole, what we call the universe, a part limited in time and space. He experiences himself, his thoughts and feelings as something separate from the rest, a kind of optical delusion of our consciousness. This delusion is a kind of prison for us, restricting us to our personal desires. Our task must be to free ourselves from this prison by widening our circle of compassion to embrace all living creatures and the whole of nature in its beauty. What is trying to be transmitted is extremely important and liberating. It is our exaggerated sense of self and our compulsion to satisfy the craving of this self that we have created, which fabricates a cause to ignore and neglect and harm others. It is the obstacle to the practice of compassion and the obstacle to our ultimate enlightenment, which I believe is the reason we are here. All of us here in attendance must be familiar with the law of karma and have an understanding of its function. We all should know that the fundamental cause of all suffering is ignorance. And the rejoicing thing about ignorance is you can unlearn it, or you can learn not to be. So, if the conjured illusion we call this self or I is the cause for us to neglect others, we forget our compassion and formulate a reason to do so. We must reflect on this. We must spend some quality time in meditation looking for the wisdom in our own folly. It makes no sense, but it surprises me that humans armed with the fundamental understanding of cause and effect, interdependence, the law of karma, would not see clearly the harm in such an idea of self, or I, or me. A monk was asked if she had only one thing to tell all people. What would she say? And she simply stated, no self, no problem. So, how do we begin the dissolution of something we hold so dear, and we are so fearful of losing? We begin by opening ourselves to others. We begin by meditation on and start practicing compassion. We begin by looking in a mirror, like the moon reflected in a pool, and applying this wisdom of compassion to ourselves. We cannot begin to interact with others in a positive, creative, beautiful, helpful way until we first crack the nut we call I. The application of our newfound compassion is called wisdom. Let us, on this Mother's Day, begin to practice true compassion. Let us realize the fortune of our human birth. Let us take this precious opportunity to take some spiritual strides. Let us realize that greed is the obstacle to the freedom of mind. And most of all, let's dedicate all our efforts to all beings so they may find happiness as well. Thank you.